Hello everyone and welcome to the History of English, a quick jaunt through time, part 1, a little bit of background information. My name is Dr. Jennifer Paquette and I will be your guide on this lovely journey through history. So if you've ever wondered why English seems to be very complicated and strange with some rules that apply but don't most of the time, it's weirdness, this is why. And it's basically because England got invaded a lot. But first thing we need to do is talk about language in general. So what you're looking at here is the language tree, and I'm going to ignore all the bottom stuff because for English purposes it doesn't matter. And if you look here, I just love that this is a beautiful map. But you've got your Indo-European base for your language tree. And over here you've got all your Indic stuff, your Indo-Iranians. That's fascinating, but not today. We're going to go over here on the European branch. Now, you'll notice that right here, this is the Celtic branch. We're going to spend a brief moment talking about that. You get into your Slavic stuff, but really what we care about when we talk about English is the Romance branch. That's all your Roman languages, right? That's your Latin. Then that's going to turn into Spanish, Italian, French, Portuguese, right? All of that. Now, notice English is over here. It's not on this Romance branch, and that is going to cause some trouble in the future. But we're down here on the Germanic. So you've got a couple of little random branches, a little Swedish over here, Dutch, German, but English goes its own way, and a lot of times we will compare English to other languages, and we inevitably compare them to the Romance languages, and they are very, very different, and that's because of the way they were created, the way that they, their history. So let's talk about that history. And we're talking about English, so of course it begins in England. And like I said, this is England getting invaded, part 1. And the very first people to invade Britain are the Romans, and there are people there already. The Celts are there, but they call themselves Bretons. And then the Romans get there and they're like, this is Britain. I'm like, Breton, yeah, Britain, it's Britain now. But the Romans are there for a couple hundred years, and then eventually they decide to peace out. And this is about the 4th century AD. So the Romans decide they're going to leave, and it's all great and wonderful until other people realize that Rome has left England. And it's not England yet, it's Britain. They have left Britain undefended. So 3 tribes in particular to the east decide that they are going to invade. Those are the Angles, the Saxons, and the Jutes. And at the same time, the Picts also decide they're going to invade. So England gets invaded a lot by a lot of different people. It causes a big old mess, and then they divide up the kingdom into different smaller chunks. So let's kind of run through that. This is a little comic that shows what happens, but it's broad strokes. Let's get into the nitty-gritty a little bit. Okay, so this is the Anglo-Saxon invasion. It's really the Anglo-Saxon Jute invasion, but the Jutes are all going to get killed, so we don't care about them anymore. Okay. Now, this is what actually happened. So your purple line here, these are going to be your Angles, right? Your dotted green, that's your Saxons, so they're coming in. And then the Jutes are in here. See, look, they don't even warrant a spot on this map, but they were there. So these guys come in. Now, these are not Vikings. Vikings are going to show up in a little bit, but not yet. These are south of there. Over here to the west, you've got some Picts who are already sort of running around doing their thing. The Scots are going to invade. Clearly, they go to Scotland. And the Irish are going to invade. So you've got all these people invading all over the place. So if you're a person who lives in this central area, you're like, what is going on? What do we do? And one of those guys was like, I know what we're going to do. His name was Vortigern, and Vortigern had a plan. So he says, here's what we're going to do. We're going to go and we're going to talk to the chieftains of the Angles, the Saxons, and the Jutes, and we are going to hire them as mercenaries to kill the Scots and the Irish and the Picts, and then we'll pay them, and then they can leave, and they'll leave us alone. What he's really hoping is that they'll kill each other, and then everyone will leave them alone. Maybe he won't have to pay, but anyway, he goes, he makes the deal, they agree to the payment, they come over, the Irish go back, the Scots go north, the Picts, it's a whole nother story, but at the end of about a year, he goes back to that same, the same 3 chieftains, 2 chieftains now, the Jutes, while we're here. Okay, this little area of England over here, this is Wales, right? You're always like, Wales, why? Why are they called the Welsh? Okay, well, here's what happened. The Jute chieftain got killed. And the rest of the Jutes were like, well, dude, what do we do now? And they're like, I don't know. I like this side of the island. How about we stay here? And their name for foreigners, their word for like stranger, foreigner, is Welas. And Welas eventually gets corrupted into Wales, and then they become Welsh. And they speak their own language, and it doesn't have anything to do with English, so we're not going to talk about it again. Moving on. So we've got the Anglo chieftain and the Saxon chieftain. So Vortigern's like, here guys, here's your money, thanks so much, this has been great, you can go. And the Anglo chieftain is like, well, you know, we've been kind of trying to invade this island for a really long time. And what would it take for us to like stay? Like, how could you legalize our occupation? And then the Saxon chief says, hi, have you met my daughter? She's really hot. And if you agree to let us stay here legally, you could totally marry her. So, of course, Vortigern, and there he is, you know, with the lovely Saxon princess. So, if you ask the English, Vortigern, not so much a national treasure since he sold out their country to invaders so that he can marry a wonderful German lady. But it's not over. Now they need to divide up the kingdom. So the whole place is now called Angland because the Angles are in charge. That guy was bigger. The Saxon, you know, they just get the little Sussex, Wessex, and Essex. That's all we have left of them. But it's England now, and that's why England has two names, right? The Britons are who was originally there. The English invaded them, so now they're the English. And you'll notice on this map, anything in this like gray color does not speak English, so we don't really care about them for purposes of this video. What we do have is up here we got Northumbria. It's going to end up being Scotland-ish, right? Mercia is the center, and then we have East Anglia, Essex, Kent, Sussex. Down here's London, right? Essex and Kent, and then Wessex, and then you got you get all the Wales stuff. But this is how the Anglo-Saxon invasion leaves the island. And now we're ready to talk about what we call Old English. But that is in the next video. So come back and check out part 2.